Author POV. The family members were all silently eating their breakfast. When Ryan came downstairs, she spent the next 4 hours sleeping in the bedroom and came out only when the servant has called her for breakfast. Looking at her, everyone passed her a small smile which kind of cheerful her up because she was starting to feel out of the people as soon as she is stepping into the dining room. Why are you standing there? Come and sit beside Taehyung. Grandmother was the first one to break the silence as she noticed Wine standing there awkwardly. Wine looked at her as soon she pulled the empty chair beside him and sat silently. He who saw her in outfit wore very nicely sighed in relief. He did not wish to see his wife coming in front of his family wearing what she wore yesterday night. Don't feel shy from eating, my child. Eat all you want. It was her mother-in-law who looking at her lovely. Wine nodded her head with a small smile as she served herself bread and toast egg. She also observed that the family members were all silent at the dining table, so she ate her food silently from the corner of her eyes. She noted that he ate pancakes, not that she cared about it, was just an observation. Wine also observed the nasty look which his aunt was passing to her. She wondered what did she do to that lady. She was looking at her with so much bitterness. There must be some reason and she wanted to find it out soon. Not that it was any of her business. Maybe it was she just a curious person in general. Grandma, I am going to the town for 2 days. There are some important work to be done, he announced as he completed eating his breakfast. He always informs her of anything and everything before he does it. But my baby, you got married yesterday only. Stop with your work for a week or two. Spend some time with my Ryan. Grandma smiled at her daughter-in-law as she said those words. Ryan smiled back at her as she watched everything. But the work, he asked silently, but stopped when she saw the look on Grandma's face. She always makes things happen her way somehow or the other. His father and uncle nodded at him, knowing it was waste of time asking their mother change her mind, which made him want to gone in frustration, for he wanted this space for her so badly. Wine also did not fail to notice the anger in Aunt's eyes as grandmother and Mrs. Kim smiled at her lovely every once in a while, and now it started making sense to her. Looked like apart from her and Taehyung, there also one more unhappy person in their marriage. Why was she unhappy? She had no idea. Aunt daughter seems harmless though. She was quite throughout like the rest of them. And Wine went to bed eating, knowing the family doesn't do much talking at the table. As expected, the rest of the breakfast went in silence, with she trying to adjust herself to the new people who are now her family for the rest of her life. Taehyung, who came into his bedroom to get some rest, gasped in a shock as he saw his wife wearing traditional outfit standing in front of the long mirror in their room. Wine flinched in surprise as she turned her back to him. He too turned back as quick as could. Are you crazy? Why did you not lock the door? He smirked at her angrily. I thought I did, she said nervously. Her cheek turned red in mortification. Both of their backs were facing each other. None of them dared to eyes the other one. They were too embarrassed to do so. What if someone else came in? He yelled again. Her ear turned red in humiliation. Well, they did not come. Stop exaggerating. Damn, why did I agree to marry her? He mumbled under his breath angrily. She was everything he didn't want in a wife. Did you see anything which you are not supposed to see? She asked him a little nervously as she mentally scolded herself for not closing up the door. She really thought she did. I did not, he shuddered as he tried to raise the image of her standing in just a blouse and a skirt from his eyes. Why do you sound unsure? She asked, but he ignored her as he walked towards the closet without looking at her. Can you call Harry for me? She pleaded with him softly as she scowled at the sari. Why? He asked her. I need her help. She sounded so desperate that it made him pause. What bother to wear sari when you don't know how to? He asked her. Because grandmother gave this to me with so much love and asked me to wear so I don't disrespect elder, she said at him fiercely. He was silently taken back by her behavior as he walked out the room and went to call his cousin Harry for help. He can't believe someone was so daring to snap at him. He just left her like that. He was still trying to erase that image of her standing in just a blouse and a skirt from his eyes, which is why he left at the first place chance he got. But damn, his wife is full of attitude and his dislike toward her has only increased, if anything. But she was so beautiful, not that he cares. Harry was so lovely, 18-year-old girl who was the daughter of aunt and uncle. Although she was nothing like her mother. It's done, she smiled at Wine fondly. You look lovely, just looking like a wow. How did that brother get so lucky? She said and laughed a little while smiling as Wine finally looked. Wine chuckled at line as she wore a matching earring. Never thought I'd marry someone like him either, she muttered while staring at herself in the mirror. Then why did you? She asked her a little too curiously. The marriage happened so shortly that nobody had time to talk. Even the Kim family simply trusted their grandmother and knew Ryan was the one for him. Before Ryan could reply to her, a servant walked in. Ma'am, your family has come to meet you. Ryan slightly cringed at the mention of her so-called family but nodded at the lady, asked her to leave. Well, let's go then. She turned to Harry, who noticed her changed behavior but said nothing to her. You go and catch up with them. I will be coming later. Smiling politely at her, she left the room, but Wine was deeply lost in her thought to even notice that. If there was one thing that she truly hated, then it was her so-called family, and she knew this is going to be the last time she did say them, for they promised not to bother her once they get her house in their name. She just wanted to get over it already. Author POV. Her family impatiently sat in the living room as they watched her climb downstairs, their eyes held away as they observed how hugged her in-law house was. They were poor like that. What took you so long? She asked the cunning aunt who made Wine life hell. Wine was so glad to be finally away from her. She wasn't that cruel but plotted every mean thing that has turned her own sister against her. Hello, uncle, she ignored her aunt. She greeted her lawyer, who smiled at her. Hello, my child. Are the papers ready? She asked, to which her uncle nodded his head and opened his file bag to take out a folder and handed it over to her. I am giving just the house, uncle, nothing else. You remember, right? She asked as she started going through the paper line by line. As soon as the family heard Ryan, their eyes burned with the rage and they paused, looked of disbelief. How can you do that to me? I am legally your sister and I get equal right in the money too. Her so-called sister shot fiercely, listening to which Ryan to burst out laughing. The family looked at her as thought she has gone mad from getting married. I am legally your sister, she mimicked Hanso as she continued read the paper. Oh my god, looked at her attitude, she complained to her husband furiously. He was too clueless about anything as he watched the drama unfold. Listen carefully, Miss Hanso. Our father has transferred all his money in my name, so I get to decide what to do with this money. And I'm not giving you a single penny or out of this, she said with an emotional face as she opened the pen lead to sign the paper. Hanso clenched her feet angrily, and her husband Johan, who gave short Ryan another furious glare, but nothing seems to affect Ryan today. It's never did. The family had no idea why Johan and his mother said to Hanso why their parents wrote the will on only Ryan's name when they had a younger daughter, but they took it to their advantage as they brainwashed Hanso by saying that Ryan their parents' favorite and all the rubbish like that. Hanso, being a naive child, fell into their trap and started to hate her own sister. That caused rift between the two sisters, and Ryan tried to her best to make her sister understand, but she never listened to her. You are playing this dirty, Ryan, Johan said angrily. Ryan just chuckled at him in a return. Trust me, it's not as dirty as your game. It doesn't equal your blackmailing of divorcing my sister if I don't get married. Hanso's eyes widened in a shock as she looked at her husband and then at her sister. What she's saying, she asked. Shut up, Hanso, her mother-in-law make her shut up. Her daughter-in-law looked at Ryan angrily. I am only giving this house and nothing else. Do whatever you want. She finally signed all the paper and handed them over to the lawyer. As per the will, Ryan would get the right to use her money only when she married and 20 years or older. Author POV. One aunt and their family came here to visit her older brother. When they met the young grandmother and when she asked for Ryan-handed marriage, they took it as a good chance to get her married only because they could finally get her out of the house, which they have always dreamed of it. They were going to get her married to someone anyway. Grandmother was just quick in asking. And for that they used Ryan's weakness, her sister Hanso, against her to blackmail Ryan to getting her married to Taehyung. That's how she got ended up with Taehyung, the last person Ryan would have ever